And if they have higher rates, the evaluation is way.
No.
There's one very rural
Prairie
county
View.
that has I think north of $1, but at the same time, dollar a much lower.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all of that.
You know, I really don't like this bill. And I'll tell you why I don't like it. I'm gonna vote for this, but I think they should have a limit on the rate that they can increase your property. I think that's where it should be.
Well, they've got it tied to market, but
But who's deciding? They're deciding. And then they're the judge and jury and everything else, but, you know, you can take one person,
Okay,
won't
never
pay
mind
for
then.
as much as he would if it was a big raise, but you got another person who's gonna get a tax break. Now, I don't mind tax breaks, I've said that.
Oh, yeah.
The fair thing, you shouldn't nobody should have to go up 100%. This is the same tax as that millionaire tax they wanna do, where if you've got stocks and bonds, that they will take so much percent of it. It's no different than that, just on a different level.
being penalized for appreciation.
Yeah, that we hadn't received yet, and may never receive it. You never know. What happens if the housing market crashes or something happened like Detroit or something like that, how the values
Do
drop?
we have to wait 5 years for it to be reflected?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, it may never go back up when it does.
Yeah.
You know, who's to say? I mean, we're getting ready to build a nuclear plant. What if they have some kind of accident around there and nobody wants to buy anything? And they say, they're gonna give us our money back because you've never realized a gain. Yeah. It's all about just taking every dollar they can.
Yep.
And those lagoons, they're very nice to ride by on the bike, by the way.
Oh, I bet. How are you doing? I come back up through, from out of Calabash up to about the swamps and stuff, and I was the only car out there. I was like, boy, I bet somebody's in that swamp.
Ready, Robbie, you all ready?
Is that? All righty, good evening. It is 7 o'clock on Thursday evening, April the 16th, one day after tax day. And I convene the special called meeting of Town Council. Could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kim.
And Mr. Rigsby, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Sure, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the strength and the health to gather here tonight to do the town's business. Please keep those across the seas in harm's way in your thoughts and prayers. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have a moment now for public comments. Does anybody have any? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me, getting ahead of myself. We need to review and adopt the agenda for today.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda for the special call meeting, April 16th, 2026.
Second?
Any discussion? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landreth?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Okay, now we have a period for public comments, if there are any. Who wants to go first?
But no, just stand this, if you would, and just state your name and address, please.
I'm Barbara Curry. I live over at Angels Glen over here. This is no complaint or anything. I used to be involved with the Summerfield Town Council because my husband was a builder. He's deceased, but I haven't been involved with anything here in Stokesdale. And I was just wondering, with all of the building that's going on off Eversfield and whatever, which I take that as a positive thing. There seem to be building some really nice communities. But what does it look like, or do we know what it looks like as far as meeting the needs of that with restaurants and other things?
We'd like a restaurant.
We what?
But you gotta have somebody who wants to build it. We can't build it for them.
Are you saying you want to build a restaurant?
Yeah, we'd love for you to build one.
No. So it's not like anybody's coming forward to looking for land to try to keep up with what the builders are doing, or?
We wish there were. I mean, well, I can't speak for nobody else, but it would be nice to have some restaurants. I think they'd be favorable, if they would, but I don't know of any. Jim might.
No, I do know some people that talked about some on the southern end, down across from Food Line, but I don't know that they were serious or just trying to talk somebody into it. Yeah. But the biggest holdup right now is sewage, and we don't have access to sewage. So, to build a restaurant, you've got to have some sort of pumping system, and it becomes cumbersome and expensive. So I feel like that's probably some of the holdup on just having a restaurant. It's going to take a major investment to do that. We've had some builders in the last few years inquire about different projects, but until they come to the table, we're kind of out of our hands.
That makes sense.
We do have 5 restaurants. If you want to seek them out, you can find them.
Yeah. And somebody could build a restaurant. They just got so restricted with sewer and things that, what the septic.
Right.
But we got restaurants that have septic systems.
So I didn't know there was an issue with the septic.
There's, this is, who knows what'll happen. It's not operated by the government, but right here, there's 25 acres. As Angel Purdue runs into 158, there's 25 acres across the street from that, and I know it's being marketed commercially for those type of things. But at the same time, none of that has hit the town council in terms of rezoning. But just looking.
Okay. Okay.
So some opportunity.
Okay.
We just need, people to express their interest in it and develop a real desire for that kind of stuff, and maybe the word will get out and people will come this way.
Yeah, I would love to see, everybody goes to Oak Ridge, and they've got that whole cluster of Restaurant Row, and we could be benefiting if we could do something out here.
They do. The town didn't really have anything to do that. That was all driven by private industry and business. And certainly the town granted them the zoning to be able to do that, but they didn't pay, no taxpayer dollars were used to get those businesses. Okay. That was all privately driven.
And they also did their own septic. That's run off a private system. And they actually built that in spite of the government, because it took 20 years probably to get that developed because of all the loops. I tell you, a lot of times that's the problems, is we're not the solution up here. A lot of times the government can be the problems in getting something opened. Right. So,
and you can definitely tell if there's a lot of beautiful restaurants, up there where you can eat outside. If the wind's blowing right, you know that it's a private septic. So it's not perfect, but I do enjoy going to the Commons. To your point, for good dining.
Okay, cool.
But,
it's educational.
But I don't think this governing board, any of the boards that have come before us, are opposed to things like restaurants. It's we need for the private business to come to us and make it happen. And the challenges that we mentioned are real, but they're also not insurmountable to overcome.
I've had a lot of people say to me, we need a restaurant, and they put another tire store. Tire Max was there. They were great. I don't know anything about the other one. But why didn't we utilize that for a restaurant? I don't know.
Well,
private land. We don't.
Private land.
A man, company may know a lot about tires, but know nothing about.
Well, it may not make it. It may not make it. Have you ever been to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee?
No.
Okay, well, you won't know the restaurant. There's a place there. It's the Quaker State, and it looks like a building. It was a tire shop at one time. That's a nice one, but they made it into a restaurant. So who knows? You may have too many tires. They may close down and put a restaurant in there. So
Hope for that, hey,
it could happen.
Mavis Burger Shop.
you never know.
Yeah, it could. You never know. Might take 20 years or something, but.
See what you're saying, and it's a common theme that, from folks I talk to in town,
Yeah.
sure would be nice to have a few more restaurants.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for expressing. What side do you live on? Do you live on this side or?
Angels Glen on this side.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, about 3 years.
Good.
Been there about 3 years.
Your comment is timely because we have a land use plan that's just starting work. So if you want to, I'm sure we welcome input from the citizens about uses of the land within the town. So that might be a good place to
Yeah,
express your interest in it too.
yeah.
So they'll be meeting, they have meeting schedules published, I think, so.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for your input.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
I learned something.
Very good. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
No, but it sure does excite us when somebody starts talking about food, doesn't it?
Yeah, we do.
I don't think any of us look like we're opposed to food.
No. By the looks of things, yes. Okay, we'll move along then to old business item. This would be item number 4. Consideration of responses to the request for proposals, RFPs, for independent auditing services for the town of Stokesdale. Mr. Foy, you're going to help us?
I will, and I, I do have a motion after speaking with staff outside of this meeting on the outcome of their discussions with these potential auditors. Of course, I've got to find a page where I wrote down my motion, but Robbie, would you mind kind of on a high level hitting the notes from y'all's discussions with the folks that have submitted RFPs?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So again, council back in March the 12th had authorized us to go ahead and submit the RFP that we had put together. So the town advertised that. Our deadline was April the 6th, I believe. And at that time, we had received 3 bids that were accepted by the town council at their April 9th meeting. And at that time, we had just suggested give staff a little time to put together a bid tabulation, check in with references, that good stuff. So what you've got in your packets there is a bid tabulation of the 3 bids that we received. It breaks down the cost per year for 2026, 2027, and 2028. That's because this is a request for a 3-year auditor. And also goes into detail about what the cost would be if there was the need for a single audit. And I've noted what a single audit is in there for anybody that doesn't know. It's not something I knew too well until I got to doing the RFP. So there it is. And of course, the entire proposals that you received, our responses for those RFPs are in there as well. So you've got everything in front of you.
So from my perspective, and based off your feedback, we had one firm located in South Carolina, and they were also substantially more expensive than the other firms. We had 2 firms come in at roughly the same exact price. There was only a $90 difference between the 2. The one I'm going to make a motion for is only located approximately 35 minutes away from Stokesdale, 40 minutes, as opposed to, a couple hours away. And, we just ended, our contract has termed with our previous auditor. And while I think she was very skilled, from time to time, being 2.5 hours away from the town, I think did provide some challenges. So with that being said, I make a motion for the town of Stokesdale to hire Anderson, Smith, White out of Elon, North Carolina, to conduct the annual financial audits at a rate of $15,000 for fiscal year 26, $15,250 in fiscal year 27, and $15,500 in fiscal year 28, for a 3-year total of $45,750. Though $90 more expensive than the other applicant, I believe that the closer proximity allows for more timely support, easier coordination, a stronger working relationship, and reduced logistical challenges that we may have seen in the past. Furthermore, if a single audit is required for any of those financial years, I accept the additional, or I would like to include that additional fee of $2,000 in those respective years as required by the general statutes. So that's my motion. Happy to field any questions you may have, gentlemen.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any questions?
We are paying 1 year at a time here, right?
Yes, sir.
And we did get that verbiage into our request for proposal
Absolutely.
regarding our separation of duties, right? Everybody's happy with that? We got it done?
Yes, sir. It's in section 4, is where we added that language that they need to check this town's separation of duties policy when they're doing spot checks on disbursements.
As well as the requirement to present the audit in person.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'll call a question. Ready for a vote? Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landry.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
I'm,
And I am also aye. Very good. Item number 5, update and discussion on the codification of the town of Stokesdale's Code of Ordinances by American Legal Publishing. I think, Mr. Winfrey, you were going to expand on this from last month, or well, actually last week.
Yes, so you may recall that the town council had authorized, I think it's $7,500, is that right? That's what had been allocated. I'm sorry, it was $10,000.
$10,000.
This proposal for tonight would be to allow $1,200 to be allocated to complete the codification of the development ordinance, which you've already approved. The town council approved that last December, effective January 1 of this year. So $1,200 would complete the installation of the codification of that development ordinance. And then we also need to approve the other ordinances, which would be done at the rate of $19 per page. I think the estimate, I think that figure, if I'm reading this correctly, is that would be another $1,700 if I'm reading this present materials correctly. So maybe Rob, you can help me with that. This is dealing with the codification of all the ordinances beyond the development ordinance.
That's correct. So American Legal Publishing was contacted to do 2 things: create a code of ordinances, which is required now that we've surpassed 6,000 residents, and also to in part of that, essentially, you can look at the Code of Ordinances as 2 books. You've got the back half is the future land use plan and the development ordinance. The front half is everything that's not in the development ordinance. All your ordinances such as animal control, speed limits, things of that nature. They prepared a draft manuscript. We've received that. For the most part, the development ordinance is essentially ready for them to be codified. We sent them the most up-to-date version for everything that you all approved last year to be effective January 1, minus the text amendment that you all just approved last week. So we'll have to get that text amendment to them about the floodplain map. So development ordinance is good to go. Code of ordinances is a different story. There's about 175 pages, I believe, of the front half of the Code of Ordinances, what we call the ordinance book, that still needs to be codified. And the cost for that is about $19 per page. And so now I put in the budget amendment the true number, so there's no wiggle room there. But I will say, as Mr. Winfrey and I have talked about, they could certainly, depending on how they structure this, the page numbers could increase or decrease. So it's probably better to have some buffer. But I wanted to give you the true, accurate number. So.
Okay, just to make sure that I haven't slipped out of gear, the $1,200 would take care of publishing the development ordinances, take care of all the 160D compliant stuff we've been working on, would get us caught up with the 160D, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right, yes.
Finally.
And the floodplain.
And the floodplain, yes, sir. So that $1,200 is what's needed to codify our code of ordinances, and that does three things. It updates it for 160D, it updates it for the floodplain, and it would get it on a format that's easy for folks to use online.
Okay, capturing what you said there, you mentioned the budget amendments, and I see that there's some budget amendments for codification. What amounts do those represent? There's $1,200 that represents what we're talking about right now.
Correct.
And then there's an additional,
2,000, is it, what's the total amount?
1783, is that 1783?
Well, 1783 is what we use to essentially drain the remaining of our contingency.
Gotcha.
So the total amount would be, yeah, $3,575. Now, that is taking the page numbers of the code and dividing that, or multiplying that by 19. That's how we came to that number.
so 19 times,
What'd you say, 175?
175.
We're not ready to publish the code of ordinances, but we are ready to publish the development ordinance, including the 160D compliant and the flood insurance, assuming it rains again, that could be helpful. So we just need a motion to approve the $1,200, don't we?
well, I'd like a clarifying statement, and I'll be happy to make that motion, but I thought the only hangup for the code of ordinances was to determine the pricing and get clarification from American Legal.
Okay.
Have we?
Well, this odyssey started for me some time back when Miss Martin informed me because of the number of people in town, we had to codify our ordinances. So after getting that explanation, at some point we voted to set Miss Martin loose on this project, and she dug into it and was very busy with this for an extended period of time. And then she announced that she's done. It had been my understanding the council would be reviewing her work before these were published. So just as we have the 160D compliant ordinances for the development ordinance.
That's great. I think that's the plan. The plan is, we're not going to, we thought you should know what we think the turnkey price is going to be for both the development ordinance and the other ordinances.
Well, I just don't want to authorize the expenditure of the money until we're ready. But if $1,200 will do it, then that's a $1,200 motion, or if we need a cushion, we can make it $1,500.
1,200 is the turnkey price for the development ordinance, right?
Correct, yeah.
I'm going to make a motion to authorize $1,200 to be paid to American Legal for the full codification, to complete the full codification of the developmental ordinance changes.
Okay, I'll second that. I want to confirm that we don't need to include any extra money for the little flood insurance ordinance that we just worked on, right?
I don't know that would change the pages. It's such a minor change.
Right,
I can't
yeah,
imagine
that
it would.
wouldn't increase the page number, so I think we'll be fine.
The flood ordinance, that goes into the development ordinance versus the other side of the ordinance book, doesn't it?
That's right, it goes in development order. That was the development
Okay,
ordinance, yeah.
I'll second the motion, the $1,200 motion.
And just to be clear, there's a little bit of brain damage on this. So the base price, I guess we've already paid, as I understand it, Kim, $6,087
Correct.
has been paid to them. And we had previously authorized 10,000 to be, as previously budgeted for this project. So your $1,200 increase will take us to $11,200. So the additional expenditure will be the difference between $11,200 and the $6,000 that's already been spent.
So,
Ms. Thacker, be sure you do the math. I don't want you going to jail here. Be sure we get enough approved for you.
I believe the full 10,000 was authorized a while back.
That's
so
right.
We're just authorizing 1,200 more
Right,
to complete the full codification of the development ordinance.
that's right, which will bring the total expenditure for the development ordinance to the neighborhood of $11,200.
Yeah, and that math works.
Okay, okay.
I'd like to get it right the first time, so we don't impede Ms. Thacker's work.
I'll still have a couple more questions after this vote about the other ordinance.
Okay.
The ordinance.
And just to clarify, so of that $11,200, 10,000 of that will come directly from federal ARPA funds. The remaining 1,200 will come out of the general fund, and in a budget amendment that is the next item, you'll see where that will be coming from. That is the contingency fund.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? We'll take a vote. Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landrith.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
I am also aye. And Mr. Foy, did you have some other questions?
Yeah,
on-
so with that vote, American Legal has clear direction from us, and our expected deliverable is a fully codified, updated 160D compliant developmental ordinance, and hopefully we can get that returned to us in a reasonable amount of time. But with that said, there's another set of ordinances that don't have to do with development, just our code of ordinances. And there is some work still to be done there. And that's where I need help clarifying where exactly we are on this.
All right, so they prepared a draft of those. I know the mayor has gone through them page by page, comparing that. I have sent the changes that the Mayor Stevenson had identified. I've sent those to them to say these are things they need to be changed. Some were our errors, some were their errors. And so they'll be working on getting a draft of that to us with those changes incorporated. And in the fullest of time, we will get that approved and hopefully get that online as well. I don't know. I don't have a timeline for that.
What are the changes?
Well, for example, there was a reference to Johnson County.
Okay,
Somewhere in
we
there.
talked about
So
that.
there were some things that were, and there were things that appeared in there, like that the charter had provisions in it that our charter didn't have, or vice versa. I
That's
can't remember which
correct.
it was. So there were some, I don't know if it was a typographical error, scanning error, I don't know where that error came from.
And the town council would still need a vote to approve those once they send us back a corrected document,
that's correct.
correcting those errors.
That's right.
I feel like I'm being bypassed as a council member here. The mayor reviewed them?
The mayor had the same opportunity as all five of us did to review. And that's why I wanted to stress that nothing has been done in terms of adopting this. T, what did you have other than latent errors?
That was all.
I mean,
I looked at the whole 175 pages and went through page by page, and there was formatting issues. The draft that they sent us had been rearranged in some degree, and so I made a list of things, and Chuck has addressed that with them.
Okay. Mayor, I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but this process has reminded me of a family circus cartoon I saw once where the little kid was directed to take something to a neighbor, and he went across the street and down the street and went about 17 different places before he arrived at his destination. So there hasn't been a clear list that we have, there's been no recipe that's been written down that we were going to follow to get us to the finish line here.
Right.
It's just been, we got to go over this hurdle, we got to go over that hurdle. So that's what has confused me here, because there was no point in me looking at it when Ms. Martin was reviewing this. If the American Legal has got to first thing they got to go through it, then no use of me looking at it there. So I was wondering at what point council members were supposed to do this.
When it hit the agenda 2 times in the last 2 months.
Or 12 months prior to that, when we actually received the first copy and notification.
Well, we talked about the Johnson County and all that stuff in the regular meeting.
Again,
I mean, was there anything else? I mean, I know the Johnson County, we talked about that. was there any other verbiage that related to Johnson County? Did they get some pages mixed up or something?
Undoubtedly, Jimmy, they did.
Yeah, because that's what I
They
was
pulled some
wondering.
stuff from somewhere else. I don't know I don't know where they got the material. I just know it was in the draft, and I questioned it.
Was it in, and you should,
Charter.
and you should, because that was, I mean, we did talk about that.
Yep.
Was there anything in the charter part, did it have any Johnson County stuff in the charter?
That was where it was. Yeah, it was actually in the charter, was referencing Johnson County. So, and actually I made a list of questions to go back with
Okay.
to Mary.
T, I'm going to give you an
What I'm saying.
opportunity to reinforce what the question I asked earlier. Did you give Chuck any changes to make to the ordinance outside of what I'll call latent errors like Johnston County? I think Chuck put you in a bad spot when he called out you by name.
Oh, no, it's fine. And what I did was make a list of information to check on. I did not suggest making any changes. I just wanted to know where this information came from. And my question on some of the formatting was, is this compliant with what we need to do? Does this change the real meaning of the ordinance in any way? So I didn't suggest any changes. I just pointed out differences.
I know you didn't, buddy. And that would go for any council member taken before it hit council. But what we had in front of us was, lack of a better word, it was rather sloppy, because we had an ordinance change with Johnston County referenced all over it. There was an error made somewhere along the line. So this is all coming back to me. We wanted to see the errors corrected before we had a document to really, vote on.
We talked about that. What I'm not questioning T about what he's done. What I'm asking is when you, because I looked at it, I brought it up a long time ago. What I'm saying, a regular charter, was there some of the Johnson, was that name just in it, or was that actually some of Johnson County's charter or something that had got mixed up in it?
It was referenced in 2 or 3 items for Johnson County. So it was kind of like where our charter stopped, there was 2 or 3 items added that referenced Johnson County, and I didn't know where they came from because I couldn't find a reference.
Yeah, that's just what, I'm just trying, how in the world, I'm not saying you did that.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
just
know.
saying that I'm
And
wondering-
if any of the 4 of us would have read it, I'm sure we would have caught it too.
I
Mr.
did read it. I was the first one to bring it up.
Yeah,
well, long time
you
ago.
did, okay.
I'm asking a question about, was some of the charters, I don't know how it happened either. I'm not saying, T found it, I mean, he was doing something about it, and I'm glad he did. But was there, I'm just wondering, do we need to, did you compare it with the charter, what we actually had the charter?
Yes.
So now you've got that in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Winfrey,
That's just, I mean, I'm kind of bumfuzzled how it got there. That's nothing to do with you. I'm glad you looked at it, because we did talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Winfrey, this is 175 pages, right?
Yes, there's currently 175 pages.
So we're talking about mostly minor changes to correct typos and that sort of thing. We haven't rewritten any paragraphs or anything like that.
That's correct. There might be some, when it's formatted, there might be some pagination differences, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 5-page difference, either plus or minus, depending on how the pagination works out. Because when you format it for online viewing, it might look a little different than it was in printed form. So just know that, there may be some, that what's currently 175 pages could be anywhere from 170 pages to 180 pages when it finally gets formatted properly.
Mr. Ford, to your point, I have been through our ordinance book a page at a time before, many years ago. I'm not in a habit of reviewing it periodically or anything like that. I knew that it, needed some organization. Ms. Martin, as I understood it, went back and checked to make sure there was a vote that matched up for each ordinance that had been approved and inserted into the book. Is that correct? It's been checked against the minutes?
I don't have an answer to that. I know Ms. Martin worked a long time on this project. Now, to what extent of that, I'm not sure. That's not a conversation I've had with her. That particular instance that you're discussing. We've talked about the fact that she went through all the ordinances and made sure that American Legal was given a copy of them.
So wouldn't that be a key element if you're checking the ordinances to look for the underlying vote?
I mean, yeah, you're certainly welcome to do that. I would say most of the ordinances have an adoption.
I'm not going to, not 175 pages, not that that's beyond the scope of what I do here.
Yeah. If it's the wish of the entire council, I'll be glad to do it.
Well, maybe it'd be prudent to ask Ms. Martin if she's already done that. I'm sure we could still get in touch with her at her leisure. And if she's already done that, then I'm satisfied that, you know, I trust her to having done that. But that was, I thought that was the big part of the review, was to check for the underlying vote in the minutes. What, guys, am I confused here?
I had discussions with her, and she was looking, she said there was things that we had done that hadn't made it to the book. So I'm sure that maybe there are some additions that were actually voted on. I think she did that, but I can't say for a fact. I think she went back and looked for votes and to make sure, because she said there was several things.
I don't doubt that we may have had more than one book in the building or more than one copy of some of these ordinances, and something may have conflicted with itself, and hopefully she's corrected all that. But
I guess the other question is whether things might have been done that didn't make it into the book. And I guess, and I don't know how you find that out.
Well, you'd have to read the minutes, I guess.
You have to go through every minutes of every meeting, and I don't.
That's a good point.
That's what I was talking about when I had conversations with her. She said there were things that were not in the book that had been voted on before, that whoever was in charge of doing that at the time had failed to. And that was nothing to do with our staff now. That was back in the past.
Right.
That hadn't, and that's why it took us so long, I think, to do that. I think if you call her, she'll probably tell you that she had done that and added some things that were supposed to be there. There were votes of council. I'm sure she didn't add anything.
Well, guys, isn't that two questions? We should have Mr. Wagner call and confirm with her that those things have been done. That each ordinance has been correlated with a vote of council, and that the minutes have been checked to make sure there wasn't a vote on an ordinance that's not in the ordinance book. Otherwise, we wouldn't be legal, would we?
Well, I think we've taken reasonable steps to try to keep our ordinances, at least in the time I've been here, we've taken reasonable steps to make sure that they're compatible.
Well, to give you all the accolades, I'm not worried about the time period that you've been here.
Gotcha. But I would say, and that's your duty, is to take reasonable steps to make sure that this accurately reflects what the ordinances are. And so I think having a conversation with her would not be that would be a reasonable step to take.
Well, I would speak with her from time to time, and she'd have all this stuff stacked on her desk, and just say, "Well, you know, I'm deep into this. I'm working hard at it, but I never really got her to show me exactly what she was doing, right. Knowing how experienced she was. I mean, she doesn't need my help." Sure. Well, I would like to make sure those two questions are asked, and maybe we make a note to the file or something for the conversation.
Okay, yeah, I'll be glad to reach out to Ms. Martin. I just don't recall. I know she worked on it, gosh, it's been well over a year ago, so I'm just not quite sure what all work went into it, but I'd have to check with her to see. That was her project, so.
Well, she did a lot. I remember doing it. He was, pulling, and that, I mean,
yeah,
she was working on it before you got here, doing stuff.
Probably.
So what question are you gonna ask her?
I'm going to call Ms. Martin and ask her if she made sure that all the ordinances in the ordinance book were approved by town council by referencing them in the minutes from 1989. And then want to make sure that the ordinances in the book aren't missing any ordinances that were passed by the town council since 1989.
Now, she completed her project before she left, is that correct? It was done. It wasn't something where you had to pick up. Is that right?
Correct. I've not done much with this project. Her goal was to get the Code of Ordinances to American Legal Publishing. First, her goal was to find you the right company for codification. and she did that by obtaining bids. You all chose American Legal because of their expertise and their low cost. And then she provided all the information to them, requested a draft manuscript. We received that in March of 2025.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure that she completed the project, but I still don't think it hurts to, I mean, that's the way I assumed that she had the project completed, and those were the things she was doing, but, I don't think it would hurt to get a call and get a short overview of what she did. I think we're gonna find she did everything like she should, but
Well,
if there's
that's-
any questions, I mean, that answers them. And we're gonna codify it tonight. Was we planning on doing that?
No, I think the only issue tonight was, do we allocate money tonight, or do you want to defer the allocation of money for that project until we actually have the finished project?
I don't know why we couldn't allocate the money. I don't think there's gonna be, I doubt very seriously anything gonna be added to it. If that's what everybody's wanting to do. I don't know why that would.
We just.
We're gonna do it.
We just voted on the $1,200. They can proceed. The 160D stuff will be done.
Yeah, they're saying we're gonna do this anyway, regardless. I mean, so, that's, whatever you wanna do, I mean, it's.
And allocated only means putting the money in the budget, right? It's
Right.
because nothing has been approved by the governing board,
Well,
so we don't know
well,
cost. But putting the money in the budget is practical, and I hope we can get it done here in 10 weeks before this fiscal year end.
we're making sure that Ms. Thacker has the authorization to write the check for the $1,200.
Yeah, I mean, that's already been done. We've voted. That's a done deal.
Yeah, that's done.
I think we're getting there.
I don't have any requests other than when the document is furnished of just the code of ordinances, not the development ordinance, the code of ordinance, when they make their corrections to the errors, then that's, then it's time to start digging deeper.
now, will they do that, Mr. Winfrey? Because my understanding is, right now, we've allocated all the money for the development ordinance. I don't know if they're anticipating any more work to be done to the code of ordinances,
Well,
the front half.
we've told them that we're expecting them to, we'll be providing, we've given them these updates, and yes, we'll tell them we've got the money, town council wants to proceed with the other ordinances, and get them start working on that, and we'll let them know that we'll.
So, Robbie, to add to your point, I kind of, the way I inferred it was the Johnston County errors were an error that I thought that American Legal made, not that our ordinance read that. So my opinion is they should correct their mistakes and then get us a document where we can review and then vote on or change.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I don't think we're paying for any mistakes either that they made or that we made. We're paying $19 a page to publish the ordinances.
I don't know if it matters or not, but if you told them we hadn't done this before for those ordinances, that, we'll get over this hurdle and it should be smooth sailing, but they haven't been through this process ever.
Yeah, I explained it to them that,
Okay.
this is something new for Stokesdale. It wasn't required until the population, surpassed 6,000, so maybe 5,000 actually. I think
I
it's
believe it was
5,000.
5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess moving forward, I'll contact American Legal Publishing, tell them the town wants to proceed. Well, first off, we've allocated or approved the budget amendment for the $1,200 to finish up the development ordinance. Go ahead and get that done. And then we want them to go ahead and complete the job. We would finalize the form for the other ordinances and have them prepared to go ahead and provide that product as well. But just know that the town is gonna be on the hook for, I guess, the 3573, if it turns out to be this, it was 175 pages, is that?
That's correct, yeah.
So my suggestion would be, I'd rather tell them they've allocated the 3575 for the ordinances, rather than say, they might allocate the money down the road. So I'd rather have that money
Well, Mr. Winfrey, I'd rather hold back on the money to make sure that it just doesn't bypass council and it just staff either on purpose or accidentally sends it in and I haven't even looked at it.
I guess I misspoke. I would like to have a budget amendment for the 3575. You wouldn't authorize payment yet, but you would at least put the money in the budget so I could tell American Legal Publishing that they have allocated money in the budget for the other ordinances.
Okay, Chuck, that's fine. That's fine. Nothing can go any further without a vote of the board for the ordinances. But is 3575 enough?
I don't think it will be. Again, I gave you the number. So that is $19 per page for 100, and it's either 25 or 75, 125 pages. Now that number could go up, could go down. I just don't know. It's a matter of when they get the code of ordinances
Well, let's
to them.
Well,
put a little more in it, and then if we don't spend it, we'll just put it somewhere else.
Mr. Winfrey, we're not gonna go out of business here. We've got all the taxpayers' money ready.
I'm sorry?
I don't understand why American Legal would be concerned that we won't be able to come up with the money.
Well, if they haven't, I guess there's a rule that if the town never allocates the money, can they be made to pay it? I think it would be better in giving them instructions to produce it, maybe get it done a little bit quicker. If we say, yes, we've put money in the budget, and as soon as a satisfactory product is produced, we'll authorize payment.
Yes.
Say, I thought we had a contract or a proposal with them.
I'm sorry?
I thought we had a contract, an active contract with them.
We do, and that's the $19 a page.
Well, I think the very initial conversations that we've had on this was that they were getting antsy about completing the project. And their contract, I believe, was a finite date, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken. And so they were concerned that the project was lingering on, and they were trying to have some closure to it so that they could fulfill their responsibility and we would ours as well. So that's kind of where this whole conversation started with the review process, et cetera, because they had a date of May 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had given 90 days from the time the manuscript was provided to the town.
And had not enforced that
Correct. They had not enforced that.
for
So-
almost a year.
Correct. It was provided to the town in March or May of 2025.
Correct. And so then they imposed that May 1st date soon after I took office, and that began the review process to try to get it to fulfillment so that we could get this taken care of by that May 1st date.
That's right.
Now, Chuck has been involved in further negotiations, and that's where we are today.
That's right, and I had a conversation, which I've kind of reduced to an email, that my conversation, which was on April 7th, to say our understanding about what we had actually allocated, what was going to be owed for the development ordinance, and what we be owing going forward on the other ordinances. So they understand that they'll get the bulk of the ordinances, the development ordinance, they'll have by May 1. But the other portions, they won't have by May 1.
Mr. Winfrey, is it possible Ms. Martin certified to American Legal that each one of those ordinances had been checked for a vote of council and this problem has already been documented to American Legal?
If
If you're gonna
that
talk
is
to them, you
possible.
wanna ask them.
Yeah, and that is certainly a possibility. I didn't ask that question, so we can certainly ask American Legal that too. But I suspect Ms. Martin might be the better source.
But it's not an ordinance unless a council's voted on it, right?
Correct.
Yahoo.
All right, so there's been a motion to authorize $1,200 for the development ordinance. And then this budget amendment, which is the next item, would place additional funds into the budget for the balance.
Is this the ordinance 2026-01, that amendment number 2 that Ms. Thacker's prepared for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, then we'll entertain that item number then, and again, I'll read it. It's item number 6, consideration of Town of Stokesdale ordinance number 0-2026-01, and that is to be a 2025 to 2026 fiscal year budget amendment number 2.
The amounts and the movements, I'm pretty clear on those. Where, it has a, under section 1, it says add a line item for solid waste disposal expense.
I'm sorry, that's supposed to be right there.
Okay.
That needs to be straight. My apologies.
Okay, then I'm going to make a motion to adopt budget amendment number 2 for the FY26 fiscal year. This is ordinance number O-2026-01 with the removal of the verbiage under section 1 about adding a line for solid waste disposal expense.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Mr. Foy, I hate to put you through this. Would you repeat that motion so I can get it written down?
Sure. In effect, the motion was to approve the budget amendment number 2 in front of us, as written, with the exception of the removal of the statement about adding a line item for solid waste disposal expense.
Okay, that's the part
That verbiage will come out, and then, if this passes, and then would be, the signatures on the next page would be authorizing this, or executing
Thank you.
authorization of the governing board.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll call a question then, and we'll go for a vote. Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landry.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
I am aye.
I am also aye. Okay, item number 7, consideration of a cost proposal for annual maintenance services for the heating and air conditioning system at Stokesdale Town Hall. Mr. Foy?
Yeah, not the too distant past, we've had several new units, HVAC units installed by Stokesdale Heating and Air. This is to get those units on an annual maintenance plan. You've seen in your packet, we have an email from the Stokesdale Heating and Air confirming that the annual cost of this would be $920 plus tax, and that includes 2 visits a year, the changing out of the filters. And if you flip your page, you will see kind of a checklist of everything that is examined during their tune-up service. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Just to get a motion on the floor, I am going to make a motion that the town of Stokesdale adopt the proposal from Stokesdale Heating and Air Conditioning dated April 6, 2026, for annual maintenance plan to include 2 visits per year, inclusive of changing the filters at an amount of $920 plus tax. So just to make it easy, at an amount not to exceed $1,000. The not to exceed $1,000 is the amount that I want in the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Foy, what I see is an email, but I don't see a proposal from Stokesdale Heating and Air.
So, and this may be the best we're gonna get. We didn't ask, we asked more than once, but what you have is the email confirming that filter change, the 2 visits a year, and the price. If you
Okay.
flip your page, this is
Yeah,
what we can expect for them.
Well, it would make me very happy if you just added the checklist labeled Tune-Up Service Agreement Checklist to this motion and attach it to the minutes.
Okay, I'll accept that amendment.
Jimmy?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Second, still good. Any further discussion? Ready for a vote? Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landry.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
I am also aye. Okay. Item number 8, consideration of cost proposals for mixers for the town of Stokesdale's elevated water tank. And that is me and Robbie.
I'll be glad to take it away. So, last month, you all were presented with 2 proposals for a mixer for the town of Stokesdale's elevated water storage tank. Those same 2 proposals are in front of you today. I do have some more information. One thing I'd like to add is that earlier this week, on Monday, I got essentially a cold call from another vendor who does similar work, and met with him, and just wanted to let you guys know that if it's something you wanted to entertain. It sounds like it's a lot of the similar talk as far as service plan. Didn't discuss mixers quite as much, but for what's in front of you here, these 2 proposals are mixers for the elevated tank. Spoke today pretty in depth with Scotty Wilkins of Utility Services Company, who gave me more information on these. I do know that he reached out to Aaron Babson with Hazen and Sawyer. I do know that Aaron Babson has looking into these quotes. I don't know that I've gotten a firm answer from Aaron just yet, but Scotty would like for me to let you all know that Hazen and Sawyer is aware of the proposed mixer, and Utility Services Co. is aware of the proposed control valve. And Scotty says that the 2 will work seamlessly together. The control valve will allow the water level in the tank to rise and lower based on, when the control valve turns the water off from Winston. The issue with that, according to Scotty, is you'll have this top layer of water that will essentially move up and down over and over and not be mixed in. Now, you do run an issue of that water running through the system if it gets too low, if demand gets high, if you have a lot of irrigation, a drought, a fire, then that top level of water with less chlorine residual would make its way into the system. According to Scotty, this mixer fixes that issue. So he sent me a pretty neat study with some images I can put up on the TV screen if you'd like to see, but essentially it takes the water, and he can show you from a temperature aspect how in 40 minutes the temperature of the water is so different from the top to bottom, and then it can all be the same temperature within 40 minutes. It turns the tank over, I think, at least 6 times in one day.
Wow. So
A little bit more clarification on the proposal. There's 2 for you. There's one for 240 volts and one for 120 volts. Utility Services Company will put the mixer in the tank. They'll run all the wires down the tank, put a control panel on one of the legs of the tank. It would be the town's responsibility to hire a electrician to run power from the meter there at the water tower to the control panel. And so that's the information I've got.
So, with that being said, a couple things to consider. One, there's 2 different proposals that vary slightly, and then maybe T, you can expand on that. And 2 is, if council decides to move forward and vote for one of these 2, I would suggest including verbiage pending some kind of recommendation or endorsement from our engineering provider, Hazen and Sawyer. I guess I say that because, that was mentioned when we spoke about this last week, and obviously we want them fully on board after giving them the opportunity to review, to take a deeper dive into the product and the specs. So those are my thoughts. I'd like to hear, because I don't have an opinion of which one of these 2 options to choose. So I'd love to hear you guys' thought on that, and if you have some thoughts on the suggestion about, pending the full authorization of the Hazen and Sawyer endorsement letter of the product itself.
You want to know what I think?
I want to know what all 4 of you think.
All right, I'll let the other 4 go first, the other 3.
One thing to clarify, though, on the proposals that were submitted, there's verbiage on the first page that says this amount plus all applicable taxes. I think Mr. Wagner's talked to them and confirmed there's not going to be any additional taxes owing. So despite what the proposal says, this is the turnkey price.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, I think, Robbie, you also had some conversation with regard to whether the mixers, the stirrers, were actually recommended if you did the control panel, I guess, that we have talked about before. Did Hazen and Sawyer give you any input with a recommendation or even other conversation?
So I have not received any sort of written confirmation from Hazen, but in a informal conversation with a representative from Hazen, it was noted that the control valve will certainly do its job of getting that water out of the tank, but I don't know that it would do anything with the top layer of that water. So I think it's one of those of the control panel, the control valve may do what we need, but the mixer would do even more. Like I said, there's a picture here, and it's such a complicated thing. I'm a picture person. It makes sense with pictures. If you see right there, the image on the left is the interior of a 500,000-gallon water tower. It's a little bit bigger than ours. Based on the color is the temperature. Well, you see in the center there, it's red, and then it gets a little bit hotter, and then it's cold on the outsides. Well, that mixer, within about 42 minutes, gets everything the same temperature. And it's also for people that like data. You can see it here. Where
Those people are the worst.
The high temperatures drop, and the low temperatures rise, and it meets in the middle, and it stays in the middle when the mixer's added. And that, again, was in about 40 minutes. And this is from the same company that the brand of it's Casco.
Yeah.
So very similar machine.
So the objective is to optimize and maximize the water quality. So, having both of those functions of the altitude valve and then the stirrer, seems like it would align with those objectives. I don't think they would compete with each other, but I'm also not the engineer. Kind of a bad analogy, but compare it to in the early 90s when seat belts were coming out in the car. You buy a car, with just a seat belt, but if you wanted that extra safety measure, you could buy a car with a seat belt and an airbag. Of course, airbags are now standard today on everything, but back in the day, you had the option to choose. So I think it'd be a wise choice.
If you ask me, I would just say that based on what I've heard from both sides, one is good, both is better. So
yeah,
it's kind of where it stands.
Okay, but this proposal is just for the stirrer.
That's correct.
This is not for the control valve.
That's correct, yeah. So Hazen and Sawyer is working on more information on a control valve that will likely need to go out for bids.
Does anybody know what the life of this thing is?
I don't. I don't know if it's mentioned in the proposal or not, but I do know it comes with a warranty. But I don't know what the life of it is. I guess there's a lot of factors. Like most engineers say, it depends.
The
Well,
internet,
they're going to buy one every year.
internet shows a 2-year warranty.
Okay.
Yeah. In the absence of a requirement from DEQ or a specific recommendation from Hazen and Sawyer, I'm a no vote. That's the reason. Just simply we're adding more devices and equipment that has to be maintained. Last time I've gone through with Hazen and Sawyer, they've expressed a lot of confidence that being able to cycle the tank will take care of the cycling the water. For $27,000, I don't know how many times we could empty it and refill it. It's about $300 worth of water from what I remember. Does that sound right?
No, it's about $1,000 per tank. 2,000 maybe. It'd be 300 times $3.50. So call it $1,000.
And of course, like Robbie mentioned previously, we would be responsible for the electrical hookup, any trenching or and running of any circuit, whatever the voltage was.
I mean, it really, I mean, what is, that's something I hadn't asked, we seen Aaron last night, and didn't even think about the life of this thing. This thing lasts 5 years, it lasts 10 years, because stretch the cost of it. I mean, of course we can't, but you won't have to replace it. Maybe it's something that'll last 20 years. I think we ought to do everything we can to have the best water quality we can, and from what I understand, that would do it, but we could empty the tank, but we gotta have somebody empty the tank. I don't know. Is this something we gotta vote on tonight? We can get Aaron more, are you satisfied with what you've talked with Aaron?
I would not want to move forward with this project until we had an endorsement from Hazen and Sawyer.
So why don't we
And
just-
that's what I would include in my motion. An alternate to that is waiting for that endorsement letter, and then the motion at a later meeting would be, it wouldn't be pending anything. It would just be due or not due. So.
Why don't we just get our endorsement, see what he says, and maybe
That's-
he'll come in and speak with us, and that we're gonna meet again in 2 weeks.
Sure. No, that is perfectly fine.
Yeah. And, get him on the record. We pay them the big bucks for that, so.
I'm sure he will be happy to do that for us.
I know we will. I know we will. Give us the pluses and the minuses and let us weigh it out.
Okay.
Do the best we can.
Do I have a motion to continue this then? I don't believe we have a previous motion on the floor, do we?
It's your item, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that to you unless you said you're okay with it.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good. So,
All right, then
Will,
we'll move to continue this to the regularly scheduled May council meeting.
Well, the proposal will be expired by then. It expires, I believe, on the 13th of May. So you do have a meeting on May the 7th, just saying. But May the 14th, it will have been expired.
May 7th sounds great then.
Okay.
yeah, let's do that. So the motion is to continue to May 7th.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna ask Aaron to come in May 7th for us.
Yeah, we'll contact Aaron and see if he can come.
Now, I wasn't trying to push it off unless you wanted to.
I
If your
think that's the
item-
best
Again, that
idea.
was your items.
I
If you want to
think
vote on
there's-
it, that'd be fine.
I think there's enough questions that we need to get comfortable with in order to go forward and make a good decision. And by then, maybe Aaron can give us an opinion and when they might be ready to give us some numbers on the control valve.
Right, okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm most comfortable with what they're most comfortable with. They're the experts.
Well, they're the experts.
Yep.
And, a recommendation of one of these stirrers over the other stirrer, I would have no clue where to start and what the advantage would be.
Are we certain stirring won't dissipate chlorine and defeat the purpose of the chlorine?
Buddy.
I don't think we can even begin to answer that.
No, sir.
That'd be a question for Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely not. I have no certainty of that. You know that.
And that's another thing, if you could ask this gentleman what the average life of this thing is, and then what's the average expense to repair it. I mean, after 2 years, I guess we'll be on our own, so, what are the repairs and things, because there'll be something. If we could find that out.
I'll be glad to ask them. If you guys have any other questions in the meantime, just.
These used to be used to dissipate TTHMs until the pneumatic systems came out. The pneumatic systems are supposedly so much more efficient.
And kind of speaking as a citizen, I would hope that the town would use, excess revenue generated in the Water Enterprise Fund to ensure that we're optimizing, maximizing the quality of the water.
Well, I don't,
That's me speaking from a citizen. Maybe I should have saved
yeah,
it for.
I got it. The pipes we're all drinking out of are not that appetizing. It's just the way the nature of plumbing. But methinks the question should be asked whether or not this is going to impact the residual chlorine level by the stirring and circulating the water. I don't doubt that it won't cool it. I don't doubt that it won't take care of the layer on the top, but will that in turn impact the residual chlorine levels in the tank in a negative fashion? We don't know what we're doing. We need to ask Aaron or somebody that question.
We know what we're doing as long as we look to the experts to provide us guidance.
Well,
I think y'all are both saying the same
Follow
thing.
that.
Yes.
I would suggest that question be asked. That's up to y'all.
You can ask a question, Dan.
Okay. Do we need to take a vote on the continuation? We're just going,
Well, I've already got a motion on the floor in a second, so if you guys want to go ahead and take a vote, feel free.
One other thing, somebody needs to decide between 120 volt and 240 volt.
we'll ask that question. Yeah,
Yeah, do that. Yeah, I think you'll find a 240 volt will consume less power slightly,
probably.
probably. Well,
That
I
was-
say probably then.
That's Scotty's recommendation, is the
What's the
240.
240?
Yeah, he makes the recommendation of 240 because it's a more powerful machine, and so it works, doesn't have to work as hard to mix the water, as hard as the 120 would have to.
I could have never thunk it.
Yep.
Would it be prudent for us to contact an electrician and get a approximate estimate for running the line, or would to be included in our decision?
Glad to, yeah, I'll be glad to reach out to some and see if we can get some prices.
Blaney, perhaps?
Yeah, if you have some recommended,
Well, given that Blaney's been doing our work, I would feel comfortable with an opinion from them.
was it Blaney that we spoke with about the light out here? I seem to recall that.
And they were just quoting an hourly.
An hourly rate, not per project rate. I
Yeah.
remember that being the case.
They are close by.
If they could tell us how many hours it would be, that may work.
Do we have any electricians around here? Like, I mean, we used to have 4 or 5 electricians, and now everybody's dead.
It
We
is,
can certainly
that's
start
be
with
the
Blaney.
case. Blaney may be the closest one, I don't know.
Yeah, that's all.
That does commercial
I'm
work.
sure maybe somebody else out there. But
I just mention them because in the past they have worked for us satisfactorily.
And they've sponsored us in the parade.
And they sponsored us in the parade.
There you go.
So we've got a relationship there.
Okay, so is there?
Okay, the motion has been made to continue this till the May 7th.
Special
And
call
to
town
be
council.
prepared for conversation, to have Mr. Babson available if possible, and a number of questions to be posed prior to that, so he'll be prepared to answer those for us. And we do have a second.
Aye.
Aye.
Boy, Mr. Landrith,
Huh?
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
and I am also aye. Okey-doke. Number 9, while we are on the water project agenda here, consideration of a cost proposal for contract services with the town of Stokesdale's elevated water storage tank. And again, this is a continuation from last week. And we did have a couple of proposals here with regard to recommended maintenance schedule for the elevated water tank. And I think we've got several different items that we were wanting to clear up with that as well. Robbie, can you help us with that?
Sure. Yeah, so I spoke with Scotty again today. This is the gentleman that provided you with these proposals. One was provided to everybody on March the 12th during the special call meeting that we held here at 6 o'clock before our regular March meeting. That is the first one you see here, which has got the same rate for all 10 years there. The second one he provided ahead of the last meeting in April, last week, which breaks it up per year, the price. And so Scotty, council wanted to know, is this proposal for a continuous rate year after year, or is it for a rate that we could pay as the work's done? And he said, it's your choice. So that's why you have 2 options in front of you. One option is to pay them on an annual basis, $33,980 for the work to be done. It's a 10-year plan with annual contracts. So you probably have about 10 months between each one. I imagine there's a 60-day clause of either getting out or joining. And then with the other option, you pay as you go. So first year you would pay $2,000, next year $43,000. So it's just a matter of what council's preference is
the prices pay as you go, are they fixed? I mean, I see them on paper here, but are we gonna be guaranteed that he's gonna do this job? For 127, 172. I know he will with where it's, you know, the 33,980, but.
So I spoke with him about that. He certainly took inflation into account with those numbers. I do believe that that is the number that they would be willing to do it for. They don't go by the Consumer Price Index. They go by another one, PPI, apparently. That's what they go by. And I think they average a 3.5% increase per year in those rates. But again, he certainly, if you do the 30,000 per year, you're locked in at those rates. With this one, I think that's the case.
It'd make a big difference because.
Yeah, understood. Well, I'll say this. A lot of questions from Mr. Wilkins, and he did say he would be available by phone if needed, so I'll be glad, or if council would be willing to give me all their questions in advance, I'd be glad to talk to Scotty about it, so.
I said something about it last night.
Yeah, well, last night, that's right.
We were talking about it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, correct. We talked about, I guess we were still trying to figure out whether or not we could get from an annual price to a price per year. That was the question that I was posed last night.
I think I said exactly what I just said. I was wondering if it was going, it's okay, it doesn't matter.
Hey, it's okay, yeah.
It don't matter, but it does matter because, you know, you say 127, and then if they're going by some index in the contract, it could be 140 or, you know, or more. So, I mean, that's an important question. I mean, this isn't something that's got to be hammered out tonight either. But for me to vote on it, I'd have to know whether you know, that was a possible bigger increase or not. Because at 10 years, if it raised up, you know, 2% extra or whatever, that's a big increase. I'd almost rather go the other way. But,
Mr. Winfrey, this is a year-to-year renewable contract. If we vote for it, it will not impair a future council from canceling it, doing otherwise, hiring somebody else, or all we're doing is basically signing on for a list for a suggested maintenance schedule. Is that correct?
I guess this is a plan, not a contract. In other words, so this is this board stating its plan to follow this regime.
What we're talking about is recommended best practice, at least as this company sees it.
That's right. But neither, and that's a little bit of a hazard associated with paying the $33,890 per year. If they terminate after 1 year, I don't know where that leaves us because they've only expended $2,000 in year one, and they've been paid $33,000. So I don't know how that.
With the flat fee of $33,980 for each year for 10 years is $339,800. When you add the numbers together on the second page, that only adds to $272,000.
Correct. It's not the same amount. I think that's why the first one is locked in rate, because you are paying more. Whereas the second one, I don't know that it is. I would have to ask Scotty.
There's
no way it could be, but yeah, I mean.
Well, and we also had a conversation about, you know, this is recommended procedures on the tank, and we were thinking that maybe we wanted to move a couple of these up and maybe take advantage of some grant money that might be left over.
That's exactly right.
How do we have any assurance? Is this company bonded somehow for this money that we're going to invest over a period of 10 years, supposedly? They're always going to be ahead from what I can see here. They'll have more of our money than we will have obligation from them. Is that a safe statement?
Yes, and I guess we'd have to run into issues because you have to essentially have a project ordinance if you want to bind previous town councils to the $38,890.
I'd rather not bind future councils to a contract. I don't like that. I've seen it done over the years. It just is problematic. I think the benefit from this is just simply kind of getting us on a schedule where somebody is reminding us, hey, you got to do this next, that got some prompting to keep up with our maintenance is the only advantage I see to this.
Right. I mean, conversely, you could just put 33,890 into your own bank account somewhere and then use that to pay for all this.
Well, there's no bonding mechanism that you've seen in this anywhere
That's
to
right.
ensure.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, anything could happen.
I mean, you know, the nightmare scenario is somebody goes bankrupt. So let's say we pay them for 2 years and they go bankrupt. There you are.
Yeah.
That's the nightmare scenario. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but.
Town of Stokesdale could go
I can't rule it
bankrupt.
out. My job is to point out the worst case scenario, which is bankrupt.
Got to think about these things.
Well, and not to be too negative, but didn't we hear that this firm has been in business for 70-some years, but not under not by the same ownership?
I believe that's correct. I think Utility Services Company out of Madison, North Carolina is still a company, but I think it's now owned by another company, USG.
My one-word response to that is Sears.
Well, hey, you know, it can happen to anybody.
Is this something that maybe we ought to continue as well?
I think so, and I tell you what, since there's 5 people that have various questions for Mr. Wilkins, I'm afraid I may not get all of your questions to him appropriately. So I would suggest either you could write them out and give them to me, or we can invite Mr. Wilkins back out here for a second time. I know he was out here a little over a month ago giving the same presentation of what's before you. So if you've got any more questions, you can certainly ask him in person.
Well, we could all individually call him with any question we had also. That would make it easy on him, I would think. The other question I will ask here is, have we given any thought to talking to another tank maintenance company about some similar arrangement and attempt to compare apples to apples?
I did that this week. If you'd like to pursue that, I can be glad to get more numbers.
Yeah, I was asking council, but yeah.
I think you had a similar presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you know, right now, this is the only game in town unless we do look at somebody else. Now, the other one is not as local as this firm is. They're in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, but they have a fair amount of work in this area, I believe. Not quite as old, but or have always been under the same common ownership. I think, Robbie, their payment schedule was different though, wasn't it? In just the loose conversation that you had, you didn't get numbers, but you got the methodology was a little bit different.
Correct. They don't give you the option to pay per year as needed. Their option is only to pay a fixed rate for 10 years.
Okay. So theirs is a 10-year contract versus a year-to-year. No?
It's a 10-year plan, 1-year contract, but it's similar to the first option in your packet where you would pay the same rate every year for 10 years.
Okay.
And it essentially goes both ways. If they were to paint the tank year 1, then they better hope the town stays with them because you've only paid them for a portion of that work. Whereas likewise, if they only do $2,000 or $3,000 worth of work the first 2 years, and you've paid $60,000, you kind of have to stay with them to get your money's worth. So
I don't think they would paint the tank. They'd be crazy to paint the tank, then, the first year.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do that, but if they're good business people, I probably wouldn't want to do business with them if they'd do something like that. 'Cause well, I don't know, maybe.
I think I spoke with him about painting the tank. This other company does not paint tanks outright through the bid process. They focus on plans. So if painting the tank was a part of a 10-year plan, they would do it. But just to paint the tank without a plan, they would not bid on the project.
I mean, I like a guy that we've had up here. Seems pretty knowledgeable and everything.
Now, this is another company.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, gotcha.
I do like
Gotcha.
the other guy. I mean, the guy that Scotty.
Yeah.
To be clear, I wasn't implying otherwise.
I'm not saying you, it's you are. I don't much want to tie another council to a big amount either. But we do need to be on a regular, some kind of a regular schedule, getting things done so we have best water quality that we can for the longest that we can.
And get as much use out of the tank. Take as good a care of it as we can.
Yeah. And we do need to take in consideration of the funds we have left and
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we continue this to the May 7th special call meeting.
I'll second. Special.
Any further discussion? We'll wait for Mr. Rigsby. But Mr. Foy, I'll come back to Jim.
What's everybody thinking as far as,
I'm not going to bring up the concern I have. Yeah, definitely continue it. Chuck, just take a look at this and the Mini Brooks Act and get back to us if you have a recommendation.
Well, the one thing I was gonna mention, I will not be able to be here on May 7th, so, I mean, and that doesn't mean you can't consider it to May 7th, but my daughter's, graduation from law school at Chapel Hill is May 8th, and there's a reception on the 7th.
Nice.
So I will be otherwise engaged, but, so if you need input from me on the 7th, I may be hard pressed to give it to you.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you can't do it, but just know I won't be here.
I don't know that there's a time deadline on this one, is there? There's not an expiration date on this proposal.
There's not one listed, I'll say that. I don't believe so. I think he's willing to work with us, so I don't think there's a deadline on
This one we could do to the
should
regular.
be, it runs out 10 years.
Yeah.
Then why don't we, just to cover the bases, since there is no deadline or expiration on this proposal, then we'll continue this one to the normal May 14th, regularly scheduled town council.
Okay. Jimmy, do you
Good with
hold your
that?
second on that?
Yeah, sure.
We wait for Rigsby to vote, I guess, don't we?
Oh, there's no requirements for utilizing the exemption.
Okay. Ready for a vote then? This is to, Jim, this is to be continued for the May 14th normal town council. You ready?
Aye.
Derek?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye.
Chuck, just something I'd like for you to look into for this, just to make sure everything is kosher from our end, is the Mini Brooks Act and the potential exemptions from it, taking into account the pricing of this.
Okay? Will do.
What amount do we trigger Mini Brooks again?
I don't,
Probably 300.
I'd like for Chuck to hone in on that.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you wrong, because I don't have it tip of my tongue, so I'll find out and get back to you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 10. This is consideration of resolution R-2026-04, a resolution in support of North Carolina House Bill 539 to require a revenue-neutral budget in a property tax reassessment year to facilitate transparency and tax relief. Mr. Jones?
I make a motion, we approve Resolution R-2026-04, a resolution supporting North Carolina House Bill 539, advocating for tax relief and reform on behalf of Stokesdale taxpayers and requesting clarification of municipal tax authority.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I'll call a question. Ready for a vote? Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Mr. Foy.
Aye.
Mr. Landrith.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
I'm aye.
And I am also aye. Okay, item number 11. This is consideration of a citizen's volunteer offer to repaint all municipal fire hydrants with individual providing all labor and materials. And I'd like to make a motion that town council accept the offer of Stokesdale residents M.E. Gardner Jr. to furnish all necessary labor and materials to repaint the fire hydrants located within the town of Stokesdale. This motion further authorizes town staff to coordinate with Mr. Gardner to ensure that all work is completed in accordance with town standards and applicable regulations. And I would further move that the town extend its appreciation to Mr. Gardner for his contribution to the community.
Second.
I'd like to see a sundown date added to this.
Okay, do you have a suggested time frame?
No.
Why?
Whether it be a year or 2 years, I don't want it to be an open-ended thing from now to the end of time.
I don't like to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Just my suggestion, guys.
I'm not gonna tell the volunteer what he's gotta do to finish something.
Just suggesting it have an end date to it. Doesn't mean it couldn't be renewed.
Well, he may not end, he may not finish it. Maybe he will. I hope he does, but I'm sure he probably will. I'm not gonna sit here and tell the volunteer his furnishing materials and everything else when he's gotta have it done by.
There is,
I'll tell you what, if I was volunteer and you told me that I had to do it by a certain time, I'd just say, all right, just do it yourself. Man, that's the way I feel about it, so y'all do what you want to.
Well, we have a motion and we have a second.
Mr. May, did you intend for that to be contingent on his filling out the volunteer form that the town maintains?
He has agreed to do that.
Okay, you want to make that part of your motion, or?
I can do that, yes. Yes, and Robbie, if you would make that addition to the motion, that he would complete the volunteer form.
And I forget who seconded that motion.
Second, I did.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, the motion stands as original, well, as amended and seconded. Ready for a vote? Mr. Rigsby?
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Yeah, aye.
Mr. Jones?
when you, M.E. Gardner Jr., is that the way he's going to be identified in our minutes? There's no proposal, there's no description of work, there's no scope of work, there's no beginning time, there's no ending time. This is it. We have a name that's going in the minutes.
We have a name that's going in the minutes. He is ready to start upon approval, and we're acting on that today. We've already discussed with, well, we're in a voting process.
Where are we in that voting process?
We're waiting for Mr. Jones.
I'm nay.
I am aye. Okay. That concludes the old business. We're moving on to the new business items. We have item number 12, consideration of resolution R 2026-05. And this is a resolution in support of application for the NCDOT Combined Bicycle Pedestrian Planning Grant. And there's a copy of the resolution draft in your packet. And I would move pursuant to the council's April 9th, 2026 approval to submit an application to the Department of Transportation for the NCDOT Combined Bicycle and Pedestrian Planning Grant, and as required in the application process, I move that we approve Resolution R 2026-05.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call for a question and for a vote. Mr. Rigsby.
Aye.
Actually, I would like to make one comment. It's this council member's belief that this is going to trigger a property tax for the town of Stokesdale. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I did have a rebuttal to that when it was discussed further in the last meeting. I'll stand by what I said in the last meeting, and I'm not going to dive any deeper into that tonight. Do respect Mr. Jones's position, though, but I did want to, because I spoke to it in the last meeting, I'd like to just reference that.
Okay, so noted. Mr. Rigsby, I believe you voted.
Aye.
Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
No.
Mr. Jones?
I'm nay.
I am aye. Okay. Item number 13, which was actually the reason for this special called meeting.
Oh, we got that?
Yeah,
We're
we got there already after an hour and a half. Okie dokie. This is a discussion of the town of Stokesdale's 2026-2027 fiscal year operating budget.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask if I may be excused from speaking at this point unless you foresee needing me for, I don't usually sit on the budget things,
Yeah,
but-
thank you, Chuck.
I think
Thank
we're
you.
good, Chuck. Absolutely.
Okay,
Permission granted.
okay.
Yeah, we have you off the
Thank
clock
you.
at 8 o'clock.
And thank you, Mr. Winfrey, for coming out tonight.
Glad to.
Appreciate your help as always.
Mr. Mayor, got that crowd acknowledgement out there?
That crowd acknowledgement, yes.
Chuck, how long you had that briefcase?
My sister got this for me when I got my law license.
Really?
Nice.
In
About like-
1989.
That's about like I got mine's not that old, but it's close.
I've got I may be getting something like this from my daughter in a few weeks, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice. I like that you,
Paying it forward.
Okay, nice.
but you don't have the handcuff and the chain.
I think now you can get those in Louis Vuitton, Chanel, something along those
Yeah,
lines.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably where you need to land at on that daughter thing.
And congratulations getting her that far.
Well, she'll be off the payroll in a few months after the bar's in.
Yeah.
That's pretty special. Pretty special. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate
I
you.
tell you, I appreciate y'all getting it done like this,
Take care, sir.
because it is.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nice.
This is good.
That.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh, I love this so much.
I know it.
It's great.
Now, this may be a violation of the Mini Brooks Act right here. Contract printing services, this large of a font.
I love it.
Okay, you ready? All righty.
I'm ready to go take a nap.
Let me get to. Okay. This is a follow-up to the first budget workshop from March the 6th, I believe it was. And again, this is to go over the various line items and any adjustments that we made during that previous meeting that have been incorporated into this, and to continue the discussion on if there is any further changes to be made. And thank you again. We've had good comments for the effort in making this large print item, easy to follow.
You're welcome. Now, do not pay attention to the page numbers. They're in the correct order, but there's far less pages than what it says. It says there's 20.
We've got a break we've got to work on. Yeah, there's a break in there we've got to work on.
Well, I'm glad there isn't 20.
Yeah, it's just.
Yep.
I think when we left off, at the last meeting, we were on the water, and, were there anything else, or anything that,
I'd like to bring something up, if it'd be okay. We've got a great staff that does a great job, but we got, the lady's got the dirtiest job in town in this place, and that's, our cleaning lady. And I think, she hadn't asked for anything, but I think we should, raise her up a little bit. When she did this, she didn't have football to deal with. So, has anybody got any ideas? You know,
What line item does that fall under, Jimmy?
I'm not, Kim,
Housekeeping.
4700 housekeeping office supplies software.
is there any fluff or is everything down to the penny?
No, that's, nothing, it's not down to the exact penny because we just never know what we may need.
Yeah.
You can see the years, prior.
I mean, you couldn't replace her anywhere close to what you're doing this for.
Yeah.
And
It-
like I
it's-
say, that's the filthiest job in this place.
It's not so much that she has to come here and stay longer and work. She probably has to do that. But I foresee coming out more days during the week. You know, not throughout the entire year, but during busier times at the park.
Well, when this started, yeah, you know, I was thinking $100 a month. It would be,
So we're paying, it's $500 a month.
it's $500 a month.
$500
That's
a month.
correct.
And she hadn't asked for a raise since she's been here. I mean, she's, you know, she's
Yeah.
satisfied. I guess she's still doing, you know.
So you're suggesting an additional $100 a month?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you couldn't replace her for what, at that. I guarantee you could.
I would imagine as time goes on, we get more and more usage, thus causing the need for more and more cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like I said, you know, she hadn't asked for it, not to me anyway. But,
You're right,
Well-
it is a dirty,
it's the dirtiest job out
Unappreciated job.
there. It's unappreciated.
and I've seen some of the messes they make down there.
I've been down there, I haven't been there in a long time doing anything, but, you know, people walk by you like, I mean, not everybody, but it's, you know. And that's, you know.
You know, I know of other places she supports in town, and I mean, she's just real highly thought of by that group, and this myself as well. I kind of see what you're saying. I was thinking 600, 700, around that range.
So forgive me, she's on a
She's a
flat
little below
monthly
market
rate?
value. That's my concern, because she's taken on other jobs. You know, if 600 is a good number, I'd be willing to even do a little more than that, because I wouldn't want her to find employment that would replace us simply because they bought more. And I do know that she is sought after in the community.
Yeah, you know, and she's not at that point. You know, we've talked about that before with different things. You know, you can get more work than you can handle. But that, I don't think that's happened. And, you know, and she's done, she come in and done a good job, so.
But
I wouldn't want to do it.
to kind of follow up on what Derek was saying too, I could foresee that she would be needing to make multiple trips instead of a couple of days, maybe 3 or 4 days a week, you know, during the peak time. So she's on a flat monthly rate, she's not on an hourly?
She does more in the summer. She cuts out some here. I mean, I'm not asking to give her any more time. I mean, if we're
No, I'm trying to make sure that that $100, if she's gonna have to come 2 days a week.
No, she still comes the same amount. I mean, she's not coming any more. But, I'm just saying, it's worth more than that, you know. I don't see any reason that we can't do, we can't find $600, I mean, $1,200 in the budget to, you know, for her to do that. That's I'm glad that she's doing it, because
Would you be so kind as to make a motion so I can second it and we
Well-
vote on it?
So just want to add, we have a contract with her, so I think it'd be best to essentially amend that contract.
Right.
Because the contract states $500 a month, and the contract doesn't expire. So I guess an amendment to that contract would be
I'll
best.
make
I was speaking that we would add additional monies in the budget for that. I wasn't speaking of modifying the contract.
Okay, you're just wanting to add it to the budget. Gotcha.
I do too, and would even offer that we can do that within the $30,000 budgeted for this.
You think we can?
And
Written his last name.
if we could go,
Willard, yeah. Lord mercy, I've gone blank.
and if that's something we could go ahead and add to the next agenda, to authorize, the amendment to that contract.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We can't do that now?
It's special call.
I would suggest we couldn't.
That's right. no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, would you please put that on next agenda meeting
So,
to authorize to, increase your contract by $100 a month?
would you like that at the special call meeting on May the 7th or the regular meeting on May the 14th?
Either way, I mean, you can do it to, special call will be fine. It won't take, shouldn't take but
That'd be quick.
a minute or two.
So we can leave in the line item like it is, Jimmy.
Yeah, they say that the money's there, that it's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
yeah, that way we won't have to pencil whip this thing anymore.
While we're on the subject of bathrooms, does anybody know for sure if, where this toilet paper is coming we're buying and if it's septic safe?
It comes from a company called ChemSource out of Kernersville. Now, whether or not it's septic safe, I don't know. I'd have to look. It's pretty thin. I'll say that. So,
For those gathered here, I'll be glad to explain why I'm asking based on recent events with a project we worked on, but I don't think y'all want to hear it.
Oh, we all got septic tanks. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of the commercial products are not septic safe. A lot of them are used in the city, and it would be prudent for us to make sure we're using septic safe. I'm just bringing that up while we're discussing our affairs here.
Okay.
That'd be a good question.
That is a good
What
point,
happens,
Mr.
what happens
Kane,
if it's
because
not septic safe?
It does
Just
make a
all,
difference.
it don't disintegrate? Is that what happens?
Clogs.
Well, why would they make a toilet paper? I mean, are they assuming it's, a city, in the city or something?
Yeah, some,
I got a real good story I can tell you. We'll do that sometime.
All right, that's a messy subject right now, so.
I think it's this gentleman.
okay. Jimmy, thank you for that recommendation, and we've got it scheduled to consider the amendment next month. With that,
I got a
go ahead.
question about Guilford County Animal Control Services. I saw an email about, we now know an exact.
Yes.
Yes.
You know the exact, and let me get back over there.
Did they go up on?
They did.
Hmm.
The email, they are going, we've got, page 24,000 in the budget, and they are going, we've actually cushioned that this year as well. They're going to 21,802, and I would recommend 22,000, so.
Okay, so 22,000. And that's an additional $2,000. We need to budget $6,000 for this grant, pedestrian plan. So there's 2,000 of that.
I was actually looking at this today, since that was on the agenda item, 6,000. I think I did already hold on, it just got scratched out because I had already reduced that, I'm sorry. We are on a tight budget this year.
We are, I mean, I would suggest office equipment and, or line 4,600 and 4,700 might have a few dollars to spare.
Well, the reason I was not going to go to the office equipment, which I've
Since we did talk about
discussed
that.
already regarding the computer
The firewall.
Yeah,
or
the
Yeah, the
server.
Yeah,
In the server.
So,
That's right.
but now that got voted before the end of the fiscal year this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand that, and I don't know if we can reserve that money this year to carry over.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that works. I do know that somehow in our audit that they had reserve funds from 2015 for a new car, a sheriff's deputy car. So there's a method to do that. I just don't know enough about it to even.
Could you even do that for the 6,000?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know the process.
Well, it's not reserved funds. Well, we more or less decided we're getting rid of it. Was it 19,000?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not reserving that anymore, but
Correct.
there appears to be a spot in the statute where you could reserve in the current year for the following year. I don't know enough about how that works.
That's correct. It just rolls in through the undesignated.
I mean, would that be a possibility for that 6,000, Kim?
I do believe, yes, I can have that final answer May the 7th. And I would need to, with council's approval, I would need to add a line item for the plan. Would you prefer, since that we're trying to figure out where to put my $6,000 for the plans? It could go, I guess it would need to go into the culture and recreational, because it would be the plans itself.
Right.
Yeah. So, I'll write that down.
So what's the plan? Did you want to look at it and get back to us?
I do. I was also making sure where to put the line item too when I brought it over. If it's okay with council, I can figure that, look at that up and send an email out.
Yeah.
Just with the information.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, you found 2,000. We need to find 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And certainly if we can carry over from this year, then we're good. Otherwise, we need some other options.
There's plenty of money in this budget. We just gotta look hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just got to maneuver.
Yeah. What about 90100? We've got that at 10,000, and we've not come close to that in the past.
901. Well, with that, it is because Guilford County does not always bill us on time. We may get this quarter bill next year at this time.
Yeah, is this
They're
for fire
hor-
inspection?
Yes, it is for the fire inspection, and so it's never, and I've sent email, it does no good to say anything. They're gonna send the bill when they prefer to send the bill. I will share that at least animal control's got a little better with theirs, because they used to be the same way, but they have gotten better on theirs.
Okay.
And fair enough, but in looking, our highest year was $6,700, well, $6,800. And even if we doubled for this year, we'd still be about 5,000. So there may be, we could pull one or two out of there.
Let me verify and make sure that if that had all the quarters in it, because if it didn't, by luck, if we don't budget enough, they're gonna send me up-to-date invoices.
Okay.
And then
You're
Mr.
saying they're
Jones
gonna
will have
dump
to
a
go
bunch
to
of
jail.
invoices on you at one time? That's what you're saying, you're worried they're gonna dump a bunch of invoices on you at once?
Right, and I mean, I am, but I'm not, because my
Okay.
luck, as soon as we take it out of the budget, the invoices would come in.
So you're
But
gonna,
they wouldn't go to prior years, right?
There are accounts payable that move to the next fiscal year. They would move to the next fiscal year.
Okay.
They go on to the accounts payable,
so you're gonna take a look at this, and then
yeah.
the next meeting, you'll have it balanced, including the 6,000. Can you note somehow, the changes, where the changes were made to get that 6,000? I mean, it can be, you can highlight it or something, just.
Oh, yes, yes, I'm with you now. I thought you were talking about the 6,000 under under the fire inspections, but you're talking about the 6,000 for the plans.
That's correct.
Sorry. Yes, sir. I'm on it. Well, I am looking up now in that fiscal year 25 to see what all that did entail. The 6,700.
Yeah.
Change my dates. Fiscal year 25 would be July 1, 24. July 1, 24 to June 25. Okay.
Okay, since you,
Kim, is there any further direction you need from us concerning the general fund, or any questions you have?
No, I do not. No, I just need to look further into this, so I'm making my note now.
okay.
I also, one more recommendation, see a little opportunity in 41,000 lawn and outdoor. We're about 10,000 above, and since we spent the money on mulch this year out of the other things.
Well, I don't know, Jim. I don't think it's that much. but-
No, because that includes Hunter,
Yeah, we got the,
3,000, we pay them 12,000 a year.
I mean, there's not
That's
much there.
actually, that's tight already, pretty much.
Do we pay them on a monthly basis or just as billed?
Quarterly,
Quarterly, okay, so we pay them the same thing, quarterly.
3,000, yes,
Okay.
3,000 a quarter.
And that's the case for both, right? We pay Mr. Hunter quarterly as well.
No, we pay the other one monthly.
Monthly, yeah, we pay Dominic monthly, and then we
Oh,
pay,
okay.
yeah, Hunter.
Then
quarterly, yeah,
Hunter quarterly.
that's right.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Kim, let's,
I'll find it.
okay,
I'll find it. I just need to dig in a little,
I understand.
yep,
yeah.
yep. You want to move on to, that's everything for the general fund? We're
Yes, unless you guys have anything else or suggestions, recommendations, or,
No, I don't.
Do you have anything under the water fund? Water enterprise?
let's look at that.
The only thing I would suggest to the water fund, it's a little early to say, but the water tank maintenance, if we go one way, could be more than $30,000, but we may go the other, and if that's the case, then 30,000 is plenty.
And when were you guys when were you guys looking at that? Was that May 7th? Going back to that one, or the 14th?
No, that one is the regularly scheduled, because Chuck couldn't be here on the 7th.
That's right, okay.
Yep, so that would be the
Okay.
maintenance issue.
Would we
the,
maybe know an answer though nope, never mind, I answered my own question, just forget that. Okay, I got it.
I mean, another option would be just to increase it to, 35 or so and decrease the contingency appropriation.
That's right, because we do have that, we have 35,000 there.
Yeah. Anything else there?
The engineering and infrastructure consulting.
On non-capital projects,
Yes,
I wouldn't touch it.
okay. Okay. And how long was our contract good for the, reading water meters? I can't, was that a year or? That's,
I don't know.
Robbie's
I think
looking for me.
Robbie's looking for
I
you.
just wanna make sure we're,
I mean, this budget's fine.
yeah, I feel very good with the water budget.
I mean, I feel good about the other one too, but
Right, it's just moving the money.
Moving money.
So that price will remain in effect until terminated.
Gotcha. Okay,
Excellent.
perfect. All right. So, seems like we may be pretty close.
Yeah, we're pretty close from my perspective, and I'm just speaking for me. Water looks, pretty good. I think the general fund, the adjustments you can make, will be fine there. There's nothing that I have to add or anything that I have in mind to add. I do at our next meeting want to take a deeper dive at our fee schedule in relation to planning and zoning. And I only say that because I heard through the grapevine that we're low, and at the same time, I don't think we've made any inflationary adjustments in the 6 years that I've been here. I don't think. I think the text amendment fee is new, but so I'd like to know a little bit more about what others are charging. And I'm not thinking anything drastic at all. I'm just saying, I don't think we've revisited some of these numbers during a high inflationary period of time. And I'd like to do that. We may say we don't want to make any changes, and that'll be cool too.
So we have marching orders for the next meeting.
Does anybody have any comments about the budget?
Recommendations or anything?
Well, once again, I appreciate everybody putting something together where we don't have a tax.
Yeah.
It's kind of unheard of these days.
Okay. We ready to move on then to public comments? Item 14, and since we don't have any public,
That should be quick.
Our public's at a ball game,
yes, yes.
where I should be. Well, I shouldn't be, I should be right here.
Okay, how about item 15, town council comments? Mr. Bixby.
No, nothing, just thank everybody for doing this, hard work on this budget, and like I said, we've maintained a no tax stance and been able to do some projects, so that's a good thing, so hopefully we can continue.
Just continued well wishes for Ms. Priscilla and his continued speedy recovery, and we look forward to seeing her back. I also want to recognize Mason Winfrey. Mason's done a really, really nice job pinch hitting for Priscilla, you know, water billing and everything that comes with it while she's been out. And, you know, he's done it with a great attitude, a smile on his face. I know he's been working a lot, but I appreciate everything he's done. And, you know, thank you to Kim, thank you to Robbie with everything you've done to help us with the budget message. You know, special thanks to Robbie. I know this has been a challenging week with last week's town council meeting and the preparation involved. You know, this week's we had our first land use plan committee meeting. You certainly did a lot in preparation for that one, being the first time out, and then tonight's meeting. I know you've been burning the midnight oil. I know 2 nights you've done that, and I appreciate you, and I hope you get some rest. We did have our first future land use plan committee meeting last night. It was a good meeting. Chuck attended and gave an update to the committee, just kind of why we're here, why we're doing that from a legal perspective. So I thought that added good insight. We also elected a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary, and I'd like to thank Casey Johnson for being our chairman. Our vice chairman was Chris Sumner. Many thanks to Chris, and our secretary is Aaron Babson, so he'll be keeping our minutes from our meetings. So special thanks to all those guys, and Mayor Crawford and Andrea Myler and Jimmy, who were with us last night. So a good group of folks to work with, and you know, I think we have good framework to work within in our future land use plan. Certainly, some things need to be, you know, updated to be accurate, but you know, I don't think we need to be doing any reinventing of the wheel here. And I think the committee, I think they kind of have that same sense. Statement was made last night that I liked. You know, keep it simple, stupid. So there's going to be it's a wide variety of folks in there, and folks that are familiar with Stokesdale, and that I think will truly have Stokesdale's best interest at heart, and I just appreciate their time. We're going to be meeting, we've set dates for the first 3 meetings, the subsequent 3 meetings we've had. That was April 29th, May 13th, and May 27th at Town Hall. The April 29th meeting is at 8 p.m. The reason it's starting a little bit later is because as a courtesy to the HOA group that has this room rented until 8. But we'll do our thing at 8 o'clock, and then the next 2 meetings on the May 13th and May 27th are at 7 p.m. So, and lastly, I wanted to thank my colleagues here. Seen a lot of you in the last week. We've had a busy week, but I appreciate all you guys do, and I know you guys have business and personal life to balance, just like all of us, and enjoy serving with you all. So thank you.
what's rough to go behind Derek? He said it all.
I was rambling, wasn't he, Jimmy?
I mean, he said it all. Yeah, I definitely want to send best wishes to Priscilla and be glad when she comes back. And I'm expecting to come in one of these days, that big old head of hair that Robbie's got be pulled out. He's everybody on the staff's done a great job, and I like the way we put everything together now. And I couldn't say anything more for y'all, and really appreciate it. I know you're staying up late and things, and a lot of people wouldn't do that, so thank you. And Mason, and of course Mason, Kim, you too. And like I say, I'm glad we've put together a budget this year, or you guys have put the budget together really, but we should have no tax, or we will have no tax, so that's a big thing for our town. I hope we can continue that on. It's going to be tougher as we go, but I'm committed to continue trying. So thank everybody for that.
Mr. Jones?
Well, I'll just say thank you to everybody. I'll take care of that. I wanted to make a point. This is always on my mind. I'm concerned about our children. I just checked the national debt clock. For every citizen in the United States, $113,885 is owed. There is some good news according to the search I did. Okay, this is basically AI generated, but the state of North Carolina has a $4,500 surplus for each citizen. And I wish some of them were here, but they're not. But this is I believe about 100% that this is attributable to the Republican leadership in the state of North Carolina. Senator Berger, Leader of the House, Dustin Hall, all of those guys. I cannot imagine serving in the legislature, given the amount of information that you have to deal with and all the meetings, and I've got a taste of it, and I just don't know how they do it. And then Guilford County, according to a reference that I got here that came from the Rhino, owes about $2,000 per citizen. And I'd just like to give thanks that Stokesdale doesn't owe any money, not yet anyway. And I disagree with Mr. Foy over the KISS principle in a lighthearted fashion. I think the KISS principle is keep it simple, Stokesdale. And so maybe I'll have some bumper stickers printed up one of these days.
Do it.
One of the things that I noticed, we're inundated with newcomers, and I think they have a hard time adjusting sometimes from moving from more urbanized areas. They're used to a lot of things that we don't have. Restaurants were spoken about earlier in the meeting this evening, from whether it's tennis courts, sidewalks, street lights, swimming pools, the weather. I'm not sure exactly what is driving some of the folks that move here, other than price. And I just would like to, sometimes I think we should have some sort of newcomers class available for them, or an orientation package or something of that nature, because they seem to be real happy with the town, but yet at the same time, a lot of them want to make immediate changes. And I wish before they do that, they would perhaps go back and read our town minutes, read previous newspaper accounts for what's going on in Stokesdale far back as they would like or are comfortable. There's a lot of history here. There's a lot of water under the bridge. It pains me greatly to see what has happened to the town. I rode back on Mr. Ashby Angel's farm, Blackstone or whatever they've named it today, and it's a sad state for me. We have people that complain about a loss of a patch of woods here or there, but it's really weighing on me, and I don't know what to do about it. But the taxes and the regulations I feel that are coming are are gonna be a burden on the citizens that have always lived here, especially those on fixed income, especially those that cannot leave, and I'm very concerned about them. So with that said, I'll bid you good night.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I would share with folks that attended the PTRC meeting yesterday. Was very, very happy I did so. Good folks, good presentation, got to meet a lot of fine people. Did speak with some constituents that questioned me about the property tax and said that they had heard that and read that and wanted to know if that was true. And I assured them absolutely that it was. And that we had been very diligent in that, and we didn't have any plans to invoke a property tax on our citizens at this point in time. I think the timing of the proceeds from our sales tax revenue will help us avoid that, and certainly that's the plan. But I do appreciate, I appreciate the staff. You guys, you, Mason, Robbie, have done a great job, and I've had the privilege of witnessing it firsthand with you guys working so hard, and Mason making the customer service receptions that he does and stuff. And I think Mason's doing a great job, and certainly you guys have really gone beyond the call in light of Chris being out. So thank you so much for doing that. And Kim, again, I know you've had a very, 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 very busy few months here, and thank you for your diligence in getting things to us as soon as possible and on time with that. But again, and thank you to my cohorts in crime up here. Appreciate all of y'all. And with that, we do have a few announcements. On 4/23, we have a regular town planning board meeting. That's in this room at 7 o'clock. On May the 7th will be, as we mentioned previously, the special call town council meeting, again in this room at 7 o'clock. The May 12th regular town board of adjustment meeting has been canceled. And then the 5/14/2026 regular town council meeting will be in this room at 7 o'clock. And with that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was for him.
Hey, when did you buy your airline tickets?
Oh, yeah, so before all this. Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I did have a citizen comment here.
Now,
I should have played that.
you should have played it.
Here's our citizen comment.